Tiffany Co. In 1837, Charles Louis Tiffany opened a store on Broadway in New York City. Not a jewelry store, a stationery shop. He sold fancy paper, ribbons, gift items. The store made $4.98 on its very first day. That's the origin of the most recognizable jewelry brand in the world. Decades later, Tiffany built an identity around exceptional diamonds, classic cuts, and a design language that stretches from Art Deco geometry to the sculptural creations of Gene Schlumberger, whose bird on a rock brooch places a diamond bird atop a massive colored gemstone, part jewelry, part architecture. But here's what almost nobody knows. The real Tiffany, the extreme version, is something called the Blue Book. An annual catalog of unique high jewelry pieces, each one made once and never repeated. No storefront display, no advertising. Sold quietly to a small circle of collectors who already know where to look. The little blue box everyone knows? That's the front door. The Blue Book is the room nobody sees.
Cartier. Cartier is called the jeweler of kings. 27 royal families. That's the official count. But the most dramatic chapter in Cartier's history wasn't written by a king. In 1933, a woman named Jean Toussaint took over creative direction of high jewelry at the house. Paris, fully male, fully conservative. She walked in wearing panther skins. They called her La Panthère. Toussaint took a small panther motif, originally sketched in 1914 for a wristwatch, and turned it into a three-dimensional obsession. Gold, diamonds, onyx. In 1948, she created a brooch for Wallace Simpson where a panther crouches on top of a 116-carat cabochon emerald, not beside it, on top of it, like it owns it. The technical complexity was extraordinary, modeling an animal's body in metal while setting stones across organic, curved volumes. Each piece required weeks of benchwork. What looks like perfect branding today was one woman's personal obsession. Toussaint kept panthers as her alter ego. She pushed the motif until it consumed the entire identity of the house. Not a focus group, an autobiography in jewels. A Cartier Panthère isn't just jewelry. It's a totem, feline, political, slightly dangerous.
Bvlgari sells Rome in jewelry form. But the story starts with a Greek. Sotirio Bvlgari, a silversmith from Greece, opens a shop in Rome in 1884. He's selling silver souvenirs to British tourists doing the Grand Tour, mementos, trinkets, nothing that suggests what comes next. Decades later, the house abandons tourist silver entirely and commits to something else. Extravagant color, architectural volume, direct references to Roman antiquity. The result is the Serpenti line, born in 1948 as a watch bracelet in the shape of a snake. Each serpent is built from articulated modules, many hand-enameled, engineered to move fluidly and sit comfortably on the wrist. Goldsmithing, gemstone setting, enamel work, and watchmaking, all inside one object that wraps around your arm. Here's what most people don't know. Many historic Serpenti models hide Swiss movements inside. Vacheron Constantin, Jaeger-LeCoultre, dual-signed dials. Italian luxury on the outside. Swiss engineering on the inside. The most Roman icon in jewelry history has a Swiss heartbeat.
Van Cleef Arpels was born from a wedding. In 1896, Alfred Van Cleef, son of a stonecutter, married Estelle Arpels, daughter of a gem dealer. The families opened their first boutique together in 1906 at Place Vendôme in Paris. Poetry in jewelry. Flowers, fairies, animals, butterflies. But underneath all that lightness was a technical obsession that took decades to perfect. In 1933, the house patented the mystery set, Sortie Mystérieux, a technique where rubies, sapphires, or emeralds are cut with microscopic channels that lock them onto invisible gold rails beneath the surface. No metal visible from above, just an unbroken field of color, like the stones are floating. Each stone can take up to 8 hours of cutting and channeling alone. A single brooch may require hundreds of them. And here's the part that makes it stranger. Van Cleef wasn't actually the first to register an invisible setting. Chaumet had earlier patents, Cartier had tried it, but VCA was the house that pushed it to 3 dimensions, turning flat fields of color into flowers, into bows, into objects that seemed to defy the logic of what metal and stone should be able to do. When you look at a mystery set piece, your eye searches for the metal and finds nothing.
It's optical illusion, engineered with gemstones.
Harry Winston. Before Harry Winston had a store on Fifth Avenue, he was a kid in New York who learned to spot diamonds that other people had missed. His father ran a small jewelry shop. Harry Winston spent his childhood visiting pawnbrokers, training his eye. At 12 years old, he allegedly spotted a 2-carat emerald in a pawn shop window and bought it for 25 cents. Sold it 2 days later for $800. In 1932, he founded Harry Winston Inc., and then he started buying history. Winston's obsession wasn't collecting diamonds, it was editing them. He would acquire legendary stones, rough, cut in the wrong proportions, losing potential brilliance, and recut them entirely, even if it meant losing carats, even if the stone was already famous. The Junker diamond arrived in New York from South Africa, 726 carats rough, sent through regular mail for less than $1 in declared value. Winston transformed it into 12 separate stones, the largest at 125.35 carats. And in 1958, he donated the Hope Diamond to the Smithsonian, a 45.52 carat blue stone with a lineage through French kings, cursed in legend, irreplaceable in value. He sent it by regular U.S. mail, insured for $1 million. Postage cost, $2.44. Harry Winston didn't just own the most important diamonds in history, he rewrote them.
Graff. Most houses in this conversation are over a century old. Graff is not. Lawrence Graff founded his house in London in 1960. He started in modest workshops in Hatton Garden, London's diamond district, with no family legacy, no noble clients, no centuries of brand history. Just an eye for extraordinary stones and a willingness to pay whatever it took to get them. Graff's model is vertical control from mine to finished piece, buying some of the largest rough diamonds on the market, cutting them internally, and transforming them into one-of-a-kind objects with prices that casually reach 7 and 8 figures. The Graff Pink, acquired at auction for approximately $46 million, then repolished, changed, until it became a vivid pink diamond of 23.88 carats, internally flawless. For the house's 60th anniversary, Graff recreated a photograph called Hair and Jewel, covering a model's hair entirely in diamonds. Total value of the pieces worn, approximately $500 million. Graff is the place where even millionaires feel like they're playing in a different league. No museum history, no royal lineage, just the rarest stones on earth in one place, owned by the man who went looking for them.
JAR. Everything you've heard about luxury jewelry assumes the house wants to be found. JAR does not want to be found. Joel Arthur Rosenthal, born in New York in 1943, Harvard art history degree, moves to Paris in the 1960s, and the first thing he opens is an embroidery shop, not jewelry, thread and fabric. He plays with color combinations in textile until Hermès and Valentino start paying attention to his eye. After a brief stint selling at Bvlgari, New York, he returns to Paris. In 1977, he opens JAR at 7 Place Vendôme, a discreet salon with no sign visible from the street, no display window, no way to enter without a personal introduction from an existing client. He works almost as a painter, setting stones against darkened metal alloys so the gems explode with color against a near-black background. Few pieces per year, extremely complex, seen by almost no one. JAR has had exactly 2 major public exhibitions in its entire history. London in 2002, where pieces were viewed by lantern light, and the Metropolitan Museum of Art in 2013, making Rosenthal the only living jeweler to receive a full retrospective there. He created global desire by refusing to sell. That's the entire strategy, and it worked.
Wallace Chan. Every house in this video traces back to Europe, Paris, Rome, London, New York. This one begins in China, and it ends somewhere that none of the others have reached. Wallace Chan starts sculpting as a teenager in Hong Kong. Over 5 decades, he doesn't refine what jewelry is, he dismantles it and rebuilds it as something else entirely. In 1987, he invents the Wallace cut, an internal engraving technique where he cuts directly inside transparent stones.
Using dental drill adaptations, working submerged in water to avoid stressing the crystal, combining precise calculation with multiple internal facets, he creates three-dimensional ghostly images that exist inside the gemstone itself. Not on the surface, inside. Figures that appear and disappear depending on the angle. Later, he becomes the first jeweler to pioneer titanium in high jewelry, 5 times lighter than gold. Then he develops Wallace Chan porcelain, a patented material 5 times stronger than steel. His pieces feel wrong in your hand, too light for their size, colors that don't exist in normal gemstones, figures moving inside stones that shouldn't have figures inside them. Wallace Chan is the first contemporary Chinese jeweler with works in the permanent collection of the British Museum, a living artist in permanent collection at the British Museum. Tiffany was founded in 1837 selling stationery. Cartier was built by a woman who wore panther skins. Harry Winston mailed a cursed diamond for $2.44. And somewhere in a workshop in Hong Kong, a man is carving images inside stones with a dental drill submerged in water, inventing materials that didn't exist when any of these other houses were born. That's the full spectrum, from the most famous blue box in the world to the future of jewelry being written right now.